where they come from. And in particular, stories about their families, where their families come from. It's interesting, and just like Tony Harrison, I go into schools a lot. I know Brother Andrew does, I know other people in this room do. And it's amazing how many young people don't know where they come from. They don't have a clue. So you might say, where are you from? And they'll say, Jamaica. Where? I don't know. Where are you from? Nigeria. Sorry, where are you from? Nigeria. Whereabouts? I don't know. What does your name mean? I don't know. It's sad. How can you move forward if you don't know where you've come from? So it's important that we had a program where the boys had an opportunity to research their family, to research their parents and their grandparents and their great-grandparents. And we want a couple of the boys to share some of those stories with you today. So the first young man I would like to call forward to share his family story with you is a brother by the name of Marcel. So give Marcel a big round of applause, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Brother David. My name is Marcel, and that name means young warrior. And I was named Marcel after the great Muhammad Ali, whose middle name at birth was Marcellus. Today I'm going to be presenting on who I am. The first country I'm going to talk about is Trinidad and Tobago, which is where my father was born. So Trinidad and Tobago is a dual island nation located in the south of the Caribbean. The capital city is Port of Spain, which is the only capital city in the world named after another country. Some interesting facts: until 10,000 years ago, Trinidad and Tobago were both part of the South American mainland. Trinidad is home to the world's second hottest pepper, the Trinidad scorpion pepper. Calypso music, steel pans and limbo dancing all originate from Trinidad and Tobago. And the last fact that I have is it is a crime to wear any camouflage clothing in Trinidad and Tobago. A brief history of Trinidad. Prior to the arrival of the Europeans, the island was inhabited by the indigenous people, the Arawaks and the Caribs. The original name of the natives were the Galibi, which was corrupted by the Spanish, who gave the natives the name Caribs, which is the origin of the English word cannibal.
That's right.
The first contact with Europeans occurred when Christopher Columbus arrived in 1498. Slavery in Trinidad was abolished and workers from India were brought there to work on plantations. Trinidad and Tobago combined as a single British colony and eventually obtained its independence in 1962. A bit about my Trinidadian family. I feel very connected to them as I've visited many times in the past and we keep in regular contact. Here's a picture of me and my granddad, so that's my dad's dad. We took a picture when I visited in 2016, so only last year. And what I've discovered through my research is that his mum was actually born in Barbados, so I also have Bayesian heritage as well. Here's a picture of my grandmother, so my dad's mum. And through my research into her, I've discovered that her parents, my great-granddad and my great-grandmother, were born in Venezuela, so I also have Venezuelan heritage as well. The other country I'm going to talk about is Guyana, which is on my mother's side of the family. Guyana is a country on the coast of South America. However, it is very culturally connected to the Caribbean region. Its capital city is Georgetown, and Guyana is also known as the land of many waters. Some interesting facts like I've done with Trinidad: Guyana is the only English-speaking country in South America. In Guyana's total population, only 36% of the residents are of African descent. Guyana is home of Kaicho Falls, which has the highest vertical drop in the world.
Wow.
A brief history: the original Guyana, which was called Guyana, was inhabited by the Amerindian tribes, the Arawaks and the Caribs, as well as in Trinidad. In 1499, it was divided by European powers into Spanish Guyana, which is now called Venezuela, Portuguese Guyana, which is now called Brazil, French Guyana, which remains the same, Dutch Guyana, which is now Suriname, and British Guyana, which is now Guyana. Europeans imported African slaves to develop their plantations. Some of the slaves escaped to the forest, and these free Africans were called bush blacks. In 1834, slavery was abolished and workers mainly from India were imported for work. And then Guyana eventually becomes independent in 1966. So my Guyanese family, here's a picture of my grandmother, my mum's mum. I didn't get to meet her as she passed away before I was born, but I've heard a lot of great things about her, and she's a great role model and an inspiration to me. Her mother, so my great-grandmother, was born in a place called Hopetown in the countryside of Guyana, where me and my family visited in 2013, and we got to see where all our elders were and where my family come from, and the family cemetery where all my elders were buried. Legacy and tradition. Before we open a new bottle of spirits, we always pour the first drop on the floor for our ancestors. Here's a picture of my great-grandmother. Before she sadly passed away, she took a tree from her garden and gave it to us. Here's a picture of the apple tree. And hopefully we could pass that down the generations, and hopefully continue the legacy of my great-grandmother. So I'd like to say thank you for listening to my
Fantastic. One more time, please, for Brother Marcel. That was fantastic, man. When you know where you're from,